Greetings everyone, I'm Akor the Second, and welcome to the showcase for More Mobs Snapshot 4D for Minecraft 1.21. I need to preface the fact that this version will not work in any future releases, including 1.21.3. This version only works in 1.21 and 1.21.1. This data pack also requires Optifine, and I am aware of the fact that some of the features such as emissive textures and random entity textures and entity models also exist as separate fabric mods. However, from my experience, it's much better to just play with Optifine because there are often issues with specific mobs and other features of the pack if you just use the fabric mods. I will also say that changes in the previous versions will not be mentioned, only changes in this version. Also, there won't be an installation tutorial or a very in-depth technical showcase within this video in itself. That's going to be a separate video if you want to know about the technical details. Also, technically this version does include 2 new mobs, however they are work in progress and they are not finished. Treated the same way that, for example, the way the winter drop is currently hidden behind the feature flag in 1.21.3. You can access them in the game, but remember those are work in progress. Now the first biggest change in this version is that many features have been moved to a new data pack called Mob Tweaks. It's going to be a separate project from now on, so it's a ton of features. If you want to know more details, open the changelog in the Mob Tweaks data pack if you have it installed in the game, or watch the video that I made for the showcase of that version. More Mobs has also updated to 1.21, as I mentioned, and revamped the technical side of the game, which means that this version is not compatible with any previous release. If you updated More Mobs in an existing world, your advancements, entities, items, and blocks are no longer going to be functional. You will have to use cheats to get back anything you had prior to this update, or you can just start a new world. Other consequences, the pack has been optimized quite a lot. There's a new namespace, more mobs instead of IMM. The syntax has been improved, so if you want to play sounds from more mobs or run functions from more mobs, it's going to be much more intuitive now. Also, we are now following compatibility guidelines from Smithed. Australian English has been removed. Sorry mates. More Mobs give functions have been removed in favor of loot tables. You can now just use the loot command to give yourself more mobs items and blocks. The crafting station jukebox mode has been improved. There are now 3 storage slots for your music discs, although you can put any item in those. You will see the note particles display when a music disc is playing, same as with vanilla jukeboxes. Also, the More Mobs music discs still playing when you switch from the jukebox mode has been fixed. And the crafting station can no longer switch to brewing or smelting mode if there's a music disc in the middle slot. The More Mobs music discs are now also working in vanilla jukeboxes and stacked to 64. The crafting station is now emissive, and it displays particles and sounds during crafting and after a recipe has been crafted. And as you can see, items in the output slot can now continue adding if it's able to stack. For example, if you are crafting tridents, it will stop crafting. But if you're crafting a stackable item, it'll continue adding to the stack in the output slot automatically if it is able to. Speaking of tridents in the crafting station, they are now considered uncommon, which is different from the vanilla rarity. In this current version, in 1.21, tridents are considered epic by default. The crafting station recipe now works properly and is in the building category in the recipe book. Also, the prismarine stick and diamond spinners from diamond recipes have been moved to the vanilla crafting table from the crafting station. As you can tell, the diamond shards have been renamed to diamond spinners. Also, deep slate diamond ores now drop diamond spinners instead of diamonds, and when you smelt deep slate diamond ore, you will also get diamond splinters instead of diamonds. Diamond loot has been nerfed in a lot of structures. Diamond splinters are now replacing diamonds in Desert Pyramid, Shipwreck, Village, Abandoned Mineshaft, Buried Treasure, Trial Chamber, and Jungle Temple loot tables. Diamond blocks were replaced with diamonds, and diamond pickaxes have been replaced with iron pickaxes in Trial Chamber loot tables also. The credits have been adjusted, the visuals have been revamped, and the art contributors have been moved into a separate category from the team category. Their contributions to the pack are also now outlined so you can tell which person did which texture or model. And there have been new contributors added: Sir MK, Amaro Nautico, CL Bison, and Vrax. The Voxel Raptor has also been added to the credits for porting more mobs to Bedrock, which is sometimes being invisible has been fixed. Also, the silent tag has been changed to moremobs.silent, all lowercase. Tagging messages were also improved visually, and the Dragon Phantom tagging message has been fixed and is now up to date. Speaking of Dragon Phantoms, their eyes are now emissive, and they are also now fire resistant. Dragon Phantoms now take drowning damage while in water instead of getting the wither effect. Wanderers now also take drowning damage while in water instead of the wither effect. And also Wanderers now teleport 1 block off the ground instead of 3 and are less likely to suffocate. Wanderer textures are also now partially emissive. Ender Sentinels have been renamed to Sentinels, and Lost Souls have been renamed to Mimires. Mimires now have a 10% chance to duplicate your health item when they hit you, and if they have an item in their main hand, they will duplicate any item in your offhand into their offhand. These items cannot be obtained. Dragon Ghosts have been renamed to Ender Jaculi and redesigned. They also will now spawn naturally under inverted Dragon Phantom criteria. So if the dragon does exist in the world, they will spawn instead of Dragon Phantoms. They also now play Dragon Phantom death sounds instead of Ender Dragon death sounds. Although keep in mind that this is also just a placeholder. Prisoner Ghosts have been renamed to Urks, and their old phasing behavior is back. They now glow and become invulnerable when they phase, and they also now have collision. Urks also no longer drop sea lanterns, die instantly in water, or phase too much. They also now aggro properly at all times. Smokeballs have been revamped. They now explode in a 2-block radius, hit and aggro mobs, emit sounds and particles, and explode after not hitting a target for too long or hitting a block with collision. The 2 phases are better than 1 advancement is not properly capitalized. The Bane of Arthropods challenge has been renamed to Should Have Gone for the Hunch. It also now has a new icon. Speaking of which, Flaming Tarantula Hunch items have been added. The Repopulating Hill advancement also has a new icon and a description matching that icon. More on that later. The Flaming Tarantula and its Chelicera and Hunch have been redesigned. They now have emissive eyes and fangs, and the Hunch itself is also now emissive. Flaming Tarantula Hunches no longer suffocate in blocks. The Flaming Tarantula Dynamic Light Glow is now brighter. They also now drop spider eyes instead of string. Flaming Tarantula Hunches now have a smaller hitbox, and they also now produce Dynamic Light's Glow. They now have more health and their own display name. They also now rarely drop themselves instead of commonly dropping Netherwart blocks. The odds are the same as rabbit feet from rabbits, but they have to be killed by a player and the drop is guaranteed. Their breaking and growth particles have also improved visually. Spiders now get fire resistance instead of strength during the Flaming Tarantula conversion. Bane of Arthropods now works accurately in Martyrs and Flaming Tarantula Hunches. It deals 2.5 damage per level of the enchantment dealt on top of the weapon damage. So now both the level of the enchantment and the damage of the weapon are relevant. Due to the way this had to be implemented though, the damage is slightly delayed. The Martyrs have also received some other changes. They will no longer burn under sunlight or teleport over lava, and they only start gliding if there are 6 blocks without collision below them. Scoopers can no longer be bred or healed with poisonous potatoes. You can now also hold the Flaming Tarantula Chelicerae in your offhand to interact with Scoopers. The adult Scooper hitboxes have been fixed. Scoopers will now heal 2 hearts when fed if they are not at full health instead of entering love mode, and when they enter love mode they no longer heal. So if you feed a Scooper at full health it will enter love mode. Scoopers now also take less damage from eating beetroots. Adult Scoopers can now spawn saddled and with chickens riding. The chickens will follow the same despawning rules as hostile mobs, and they will not lay eggs. Baby Scoopers now randomly ride adults, and they also will randomly dismount adults unless the adult is saddled. Saddled Scoopers will now automatically be ridden by passive mobs or animals, and only the ones which can fit into a boat and are in a 2-block radius. They will only dismount the Scooper if the saddle has been taken off of the Scooper, and adult Scoopers will not mount other Scoopers. Lags in Scooper and Ashwing models clipping has been fixed. Scoopers and Ashwings now shiver outside of the Nether and take damage in cold biomes. The mobs do need to be outside of the Nether dimension to take freezing damage. They will take 2 freeze damage per second. Ashwing's jittering has been fixed. Ashwings not getting disturbed or hurt when they should be has also been fixed. And Ashwings now have collision. Disturbed Cyclops and Ashwings now display anger particles and shake every second. Cyclops heads now interact with no blocks like vanilla mob heads or skulls. Cyclops now have a 3.437% chance to spawn holding a stick. Cyclops now spawn from pigs instead of chickens. The spawning system detection has been improved. It now uses built-in vanilla dimension and biome checks, which also improves compatibility with other datapacks and mods. Cave detection now includes ancient cities, and mummies and cyclopes now spawn under inverted cave criteria rather than at its specific heights. Affrays have been redesigned and their eyes are now emissive. There is also a new item, Miasma. The Affray's jump disabling ability has been tweaked. It now works on mobs as well as players, and the affected entities will now drip Miasma every second. This attack also is no longer able to make you jump really high in some circumstances. Affrays are now 83.25% of their original size and have a jump strength of 0. Adult Affrays now drop 0 to 1 Miasma and have a step height of 1.5 blocks. Baby Affrays now jump on the closest adult's back in a 2-block radius if it has no passengers. They also have a step height of 1 block and 7 health instead of 30 and 2 attack damage instead of 6. Miasma and small miasma particles have been added, although these are custom particles and don't work exactly like vanilla particles. You can also summon these particles with a command. If you want to know more about the technical details of the particle, watch the technical showcase. Small miasma will drip from baby Affrays, and regular miasma will drip from Affrays as well as entities that have been affected by its jump disabling ability. Both particles have 3 separate textures each. The first one is when the miasma is just starting to ooze out of the mob, and it lasts for 1 second. Then the miasma will start to fall down. And the third one is when the miasma has fallen to the ground and is about to disappear. Once fallen on a solid block, the particle will persist for 1 second and then despawn. When in the void, the particles will be deleted. This is hard-coded for the end and nether dimensions. There's a 20% chance that an Affray will drip miasma every second. Corrupted souls and demonic essences have been renamed. They are now corrupted hearts and fiendish brains. They are now animated items and do not have the enchantment glint. They will also not play sound effects or display particles when looted from mobs. Demons have been renamed to reprobates and redesigned. Keep in mind these are temporary designs. Watchers have now also been renamed to gazers and redesigned, although these textures are also temporary. Gazers now drop ender pearls instead of diamond splitters and ender eyes. The wither skeleton horse and Technoblade pig have also been retextured. The Totem of Avoidance has been retextured as well. The Hoggus model now properly displays all elements. The Hoggus is now partially emissive, and the baby Hoggai getting stuck under adult Hoggai bug has been fixed. Miners have been redesigned. They also now spawn in wearing miner helmets and without holding torches like in previous versions. Keep in mind that the miner helmet is an unfinished feature and cannot be currently obtained. Miners wearing the miner helmet will now produce sound dynamic light as well. The candle on the helmet can be extinguished by water or powder snow, and if the mug griefing game rule is set to true, the powder snow will melt. When the miner is set on fire, the candle will also be lit. Papyrus and mummies have been retextured. Mummies now spawn with golden swords and shovels instead of diamond ones. Mummies now drop lapis lazuli instead of diamond splinters, and the bug with mummies not applying blindness has been fixed. They will also no longer apply the blindness effect to the target if it already has it. That's it for this version of More Mobs. I'm really sorry for taking so long with this version, but I was just catching up to Mojang and it never works, so I just decided to release for 1.21. It's gonna take a bit to release an update to 1.21.2 or whatever version when I get to it, but please keep in mind that this is a hobby that I do mostly by myself, obviously with all the help of these incredible people that I mentioned today and also all the other people in the credits. But enough about that. Thank you so much for your continued support. I hope you enjoy this More Mobs update and are looking forward to the future things to come. Don't forget that there have been a ton of technical changes in this version, so if you're interested to know more about them, watch the video that I made for that separately, and please join my Discord server because that's where I post all the most recent updates to this data pack and all my other projects as well. That's it. Don't forget to smash subscribe, ring my bell, and as always, stay